What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Welcome into Orange and Brown 365 here on Spreaker. I am your host, as always, the self-proclaimed Seatown sports guru, Jeremy Somerville. Want to welcome you into a beautifully whatever kind of weather day here in Cleveland, Ohio, where yesterday we had 60 degrees and beautiful weather, and today it's cold as hell, overcast, just a dreary-looking day. Kind of like a regular Browns football season, dreary. However, things are looking up in Cleveland for the Browns. Top stories today, the Cleveland Browns have announced 40% of season tickets around the First Energy Stadium will be cut. Prices will not be going up once again. 8 out of 9 years, I believe that is happening. And finally, they are cutting prices more to get some people in there, considering the product on the field hasn't been that good. Still dealing with somewhat of a sinus infection here, so bear with me if my voice goes in and out and I sound like I'm going through puberty at times, or if I sound like, I don't even know what I'll sound like, because I'm trying to be a little politically correct here with that. Anyway, David Lee was hired today as the Cleveland Browns quarterback coach. He has been with Buffalo and also with the New York Jets. And the past 2 years, while he was with Buffalo, he coached Tyrod Taylor, which gets us into what we seem to talk about every single day on this podcast show, whatever we call it, and that is quarterbacks. Cleveland Browns yesterday cut Josh McCown, who's 37. And before I go any further with Josh McCown on the being cut part, I want to thank Josh McCown for his 2 seasons here as a Cleveland Brown. He signed a 3-year deal here in 2015. He came in his first game as a Cleveland Brown. We saw the helicopter in the end zone from Demario Davis against the Jets. And while, I was kind of upset to see our quarterback go out, you saw who this guy is. He was a leader. Nobody fought harder. He's tough as hell. And he was one of the best guys you could have on a team. If more Cleveland Browns players and more football players in general and more people had the heart and passion that Josh McCown does every day, the world and the Browns and the NFL would be a much better place. So thank you, Josh McCown, for your 2 years of service inside the Cleveland Browns organization. Thank you for what you did off the field. Thank you for the efforts you put on the field. And thank you for being just a good dude. Now, Hugh Jackson has reached out to Josh and said that if he decides there is a spot on this coaching staff for him, I would love to see Josh come back here as a coach, but as I stumble through this, he wants to stay out on the field at least for another season. Now, at 37 years old, who knows where he'll go. Now, while they've cut him, that saves them a decent chunk of change on the salary cap. I don't have the number sitting in front of me. But they also cut Tramon Williams, saving them about $10 million. And by cutting McCown and Williams, they're basically paying Jamie Collins' salary for this year. And they have about $100 million to spend. Now, will they be spending all that money? No. They'll be rolling over a lot of money to next year. And while they could go crazy in free agency, they will not do so. I expect them to sign maybe 1 or 2 free agents, nothing huge. Because coming up, you're going to have not only a quarterback, hopefully, eventually, that you're going to have to sign, and that's a huge reason why we have so much cap space is we don't have a quarterback. But you'll have Christian Kirksey, Joel Bitonio coming up for extensions, as well as you still need to sign Terrell Pryor, and you may be bringing back Isaiah Crowell. So that's where most of the money goes. Now, getting back to the signing of David Lee and the connection with Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor is due $30 million in guarantees if he is on the Buffalo Bills roster come March 11th or 12th. So odds are that the Buffalo Bills, who are in basically the same boat as us, and the fact that they don't have a quarterback, they'll be cutting Tyrod Taylor. So what does that mean when a team, an organization that has been struggling to get in the playoffs for years, has not had a consistent quarterback since Doug Flutie, and before then probably Jim Kelly, and they have E.J. Manuel and Cardale Jones on the roster, neither of which has shown anything great in the NFL, though Cardale does have the opportunity to develop into something very good, given time. What does that say about Tyrod Taylor? Does it say that the Bills are thinking clearly in the fact that they're allowing a guy who has been a Pro Bowler in the past 2 years and who has done a pretty damn good job as their quarterback to go and test the free agent waters and let him go when you have nothing? Does that say something to you about Tyrod Taylor? Or are you just seeing it as it's a money issue? And they agreed to that deal. That was a deal the Bills signed him to and agreed to. So the fact that they're willing to let their quarterback go does give me a little bit of worry. But we know what Tyrod Taylor is. He's a decent quarterback. Better than anything we have. Way better than anything we have. I'll take him over RG3. I'll take him over Cody Kessler. I'll take him over Kevin Hogan because that's who we have on this roster right now. But what is he? Is he the guy who's going to lead us into the future, or is he just another bridge guy? In my opinion, and based on what we've seen so far, I don't think anyone really disagree with me on this, is he is a bridge quarterback. Now, would I rather have him as a bridge quarterback than any of the other guys I just mentioned? Absolutely. So if you're going to sign him to a deal, that doesn't necessarily mean you can't draft a guy in the first round like Trubisky, Watson, or Kaiser, or even Mahomes, who may creep into the first round by the time things are done. Patrick Mahomes is growing on me a lot as a quarterback. Yes, he came from an air raid system, and don't give me the Derek Carr. He's not Derek Carr. Yes, Derek Carr came from an air raid system, but keep in mind, Derek Carr grew up with his brother, David, who was the first pick in the NFL draft, grew up in film rooms, so he knew defenses. He had been in the NFL, around NFL players. He's not Derek Carr, so don't say he could be the Derek Carr of this draft. That's just a lazy conversation we could have. But Pat Mahomes is growing on me. Now, if it was up to me, and I was Sashi Brown, Hugh Jackson, Andrew Barry, sitting there and trying to decide who my options are, my number one option still to this day will be Jimmy Garoppolo. I think if Jimmy Garoppolo was in this draft, we would be talking about him as a first-round quarterback. My second choice would be to go with a rookie. And then keep who you have on this roster and maybe sign someone who can start this year. I would not start any of these rookies day one. My third choice would be Tyrod Taylor. And then draft someone or push it to next season when, as we say almost every year, it feels like, the quarterback class will be much deeper. If I'm going my fourth option, it's A.J. McCarron. My fifth option, if I'm going this far, and this would be only if there was no other option out there, and this was the only thing I could do, it would be Colin Kaepernick. I'm not a huge Colin Kaepernick fan. I think he is what he is. And yes, he had 16 touchdowns to 4 picks last year, but I think he's become gun-shy. I think he can be a distraction on the field. And I think there will be issues when he comes in here. Now, do I stand behind him in his decisions to kneel for the national anthem? If that's what he believes, and he believes it this strongly, then that's his choice. I don't agree with it. I'm not going to say I would do the same thing. But if that's what he is and he's backing it up, that's his choice. Free country, do whatever you want. I'm fine with that. But I would not bring Colin Kaepernick in, and I would say he would be a distraction. And having Johnny Manziel here, the reason I believe they didn't take Dak Prescott, I believe this is a franchise that doesn't need any more distractions. So like I said, Garoppolo, first-round quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, A.J. McCarron, then Colin Kaepernick. Those are the guys I would go with. While I'm talking to you here, I want to remind you can catch me on Twitter at SomervilleCLE. That's SomervilleCLE. Hit me up on email, somervillejeremy@yahoo.com. Or if you want to join the show any other way, you can text in at 440-537-5647. The show will air Monday through Thursday at 2:45 to 3 o'clock usually, just 15 minutes. As I get this show more developed, maybe I'll go longer, but that's what it's going to be. Hopefully you'll be able to catch it on iHeartRadio soon. You can find it on Facebook at Orange and Brown 365. Check out my website, www.orangeandbrown365.com. Just started out trying to build it, trying to get enough people so I can start getting more creds. I have covered the Browns for the Lake County Sentinel and Bleacher Report and the Cleveland Sports Report, as well as the Cleveland Sports Bulletin, the past 5 years. And while I have been a credentialed member of the media, I am no longer. So I'm trying to get back to doing that. So the more people who follow, the more followers I get, the more help I get from the listening audience and the readers at Orange and Brown 365, the more likely I'll be able to get into that. Now, this is something I do part-time. If there's anything you want to add, anything you need to say, any help, any of those contact ways I gave you, join in. Tell me what you want to hear. Tell me what you want to see. And we'll see what we can do. If you want to be a part of the show, we can do that as well. Now, I want to thank you for listening. As always, I am Jeremy Somerville, the self-proclaimed Seatown sports guru. This is Orange and Brown 365. Catch it live Monday through Thursday at 2:45 p.m. here on Spreaker. You can get more on the podcast at Somerville CLE on Twitter, orangeandbrown365.com, and hopefully soon on iHeartRadio. Now, I hope you all have a good rest of your day. As always, remember, if you live the life you love the life you live. Good night, kids.